talk.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Wheel Talk. I always wash through these intros, so I want to take my time today, connect with you guys. Hi, I know about 40 people, I think 40, 50 people listen each week. And if you're listening, God bless you, I love you. Thanks for coming back. This is Real Talk. I feel excited and I feel nervous because I want to bust out a news story. And this is a news story I've been waiting to tell you years. I've been waiting years to tell you guys this. So when I was stuck in Bali during COVID, I was scrubbing greasy kitchens for a bunch of prostitutes. I hope that you guys come here to hear these. I bet you do. I hope that you come here to hear these dark stories of me being a weird loser, because that's what I want to tell you. And I tell you, when I was scrubbing those kitchen floors, I thought, man, I hope I survive to get out of here and tell people about this. So please do laugh, guys, if you want to. At least find this funny, because I do. You know, when I was scrubbing those floors for those whores, and I can say whores, and I'll tell you why. When I was scrubbing floors for those whores, I just felt like there was a camera. There's got to be a camera in the corner of this room recording this, because this is out of this world. Anyway, how did I get there? You guys have heard, if you heard some of the past episodes, you heard bits and pieces of this. I think I'll now and then I'll come back to bits and pieces of stories, because different stories, because everything interconnects. Really, everything has a purpose. You know, I believe that, you know, people always try to frame their life in terms of stories that make sense. I was in Bali because I was running away from Australia. I just got out of prison in Thailand, you guys know, and I wasn't having a good time there. I told you, like, when I got there, I thought there's going to be news reporters. Ray Martin for Current Affairs going to be there, 60 Minutes. I'm going to be offered book deals, movie deals. I made it. You know, it was bad enough, but I made it out of prison in Thailand. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be famous. You know what? You guys know, if you heard, all there was my mean dad and my crazy mum. No book deals, just telling me what a bad person I'd been. And I flipped out, man. And then I was told my kids are coming. The kids are coming to see you. And I was so excited because I'd been graffitiing their names. I missed them so much. I was graffitiing their names all over the walls in that prison. Been risking getting beaten just so I could read their names on the wall. I used to touch them, like give them a kiss like this, and touch the spot on the wall before I got dragged up to sleep in the cell with 40 other guys every night. So I was super excited. By the way, I was also still in drug-induced psychosis. You can laugh. It was pretty bad sometimes. Might have had PTSD, but I don't know why they never... What I needed was a doctor, really, more than a book deal. You know, in a way, I'm glad that Ray Martin wasn't there, because he would have got... If the camera was there, oh my God, I'm so glad cameras weren't there. I was fucked up, you guys. But I did really, really want to see my kids. So maybe, look, honestly, I tried to get a bit more real with myself. Maybe lucky they didn't come, because I was pretty fucked in the head. But I didn't know that. Like, it was just a horrible experience for me. But I tell you, who did turn up um, was my wife and ex-wife and her boyfriend with papers to sue me and take all my money. And that really scared me, so I ran away. Ran away to Bali. So you think I would have learnt my lesson? Ryan, when you're addicted to drugs, maybe don't go to Southeast Asia. But I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what else to do, you guys. And I didn't plan to go back there to take drugs. I thought I'll go there to stay clean. But at least I can rent a little room where I don't have to live with my mean dad and crazy mum telling me I'm bad and dumb for going to jail. Maybe I was a bit bad and dumb, but I don't know. I just needed to feel some love, I think. So I just needed a bit of understanding. I probably needed a doctor too. I don't know why you don't get a doctor. They should, you know, that uh, the embassy do send someone when you go to jail in Thailand. They should know. They should be ready for you. Like, send this guy a team. Send this guy a fucking professional clinical team, because he's not going to be well when he gets out. But none of that. Anyway, so I went back to Bali. I thought, I'll stay clean this time and I can rent a cheap room. I'll stop being a sex addict. But you know what? That lasted about half an hour. A lot of drugs, a lot of prostitution in Bali, But most of you guys, when you go there, you say no, don't you? You know to say no. I know to say no too, but I say yes. I was still an addict. Like, it's really hard to stop being an addict of crystal meth. You need doctors. You need a team. You need a team around the clock. Guess what? If you ever meet someone that stopped being addicted to crystal meth, give them a big pat on the back, because they just I think it's harder than becoming an astronaut, because you don't get you need a team of doctors, and no one will get around the clock. No one will give you that. So it's pretty hard. So the first drug dealer that offered me drugs, I said no, actually. He said, come on. I think he could tell at the time. No, I swore to myself. I learned my lesson. I'm clean. Come on. Or maybe I should just do it one time, because he asked me again. Anyway, and then off I'd go. And, I didn't have a lot of money. I was living on a little bit of savings. But so pretty soon I end up living in basically a crack house in the slums. If you guys don't think that Bali has slums, I would love to take you there. Honestly, I would love to take you there. I'm going to tell you some dark stories. But part of me knows, like I really want to go back there to see the places where I want to see those kitchens I scrubbed. I want to see that filthy crack house that I used to live in. And I was living there, anyway, spending my savings each week on drugs, because I couldn't help it. I'd love to tell you guys a little bit more about the experience of addiction, because I know hearing myself say that, you guys are thinking, well, couldn't you help it? Couldn't you? I just want to tell you briefly, the reason why they call it addiction, I think maybe it's not a word that really captures it. Basically, what does capture it is that the drug captures the part of your brain that tells you that the most important things to you in life are first air, water, food, and shelter. Okay, everyone knows that sensibly, but what's not obvious to you is you got this automatic part of your brain, an emotional, like the lizard mammal part of your brain, that's also driving what you actually do. So a lot of your thoughts that you think that like the actions, decisions that you make, you think, oh, I made that consciously. Some of them were made before you made conscious for them, and then you decided with your thoughts afterwards, oh, I must have thought that's a good idea. So what an addict does is that when they get their money every week, they spend it all on drugs because that part of their brain tells them that that's what they need to do. If you think that I'm getting addicts off the hook too bad, because that's the experience. I'm telling you, that's the experience from their inside. What you guys see outside, I know because I work with them, is that it looks like someone just selfishly wanting to feel good or escape their own feelings. That's very true, but there's more to it than that. So anyway, but also feel free to judge me and call me a dumb weirdo too. That's fine. So I spent all this money on drugs. So sometimes I didn't eat. I was lucky I paid my rent. Sometimes I didn't, and I had to figure out how to get money for that. Sometimes I didn't eat for 3 days. Sometimes I didn't drink water. Sometimes I drank water. I wasn't at that time. I wasn't in the jungle, but there were some jungly plants around. Now I like to think of myself like an Indiana Jones, but I think, this is something Indiana Jones would have done. Walked outside and I would drink the dew that would collect on this lush, I remember it like it was yesterday, lush green plant. And there's moments like that I see the camera in the corner of the room. This was outside, but the camera, up in space, must be this is too good. This is too good not to be capturing and get to tell someone about it later. So I drank the dew of plants. I would eat mangoes that fell from the tree. You might feel like that. Doesn't that sound like a lovely life? Free mangoes in the jungle. And in the slums, there happened to be a mango tree that would drop mangoes sometimes, and that's all I had to eat. So it was pretty bad. But you know what? More than anything, I felt like I'd lived it up before. I told you guys some wild stories. Before I went to jail, I was like cashed up every day, spending cash like this, just throwing away. Drugs whenever I wanted it. Sex with hookers. By the way, I know how gross it sounds. I'll explain the life of a sex addict to you properly without Ross Gear here getting in the way on another episode. Just fucking throwing cash away, like living the dream. And I just felt like, I did miss that, because going back to Bali after jail with almost no money, trapped there during COVID, this was a painful time. But part of me poetically felt like, well, but this feels about right. Did I feel like when I was spending it up, sleeping with a different woman every night, gross, Ryan, gross, getting high all the time, feeling good all the time. Hey, sure, I could tell you what, I did feel like was the solution to my problems and what I deserve, because doesn't everyone deserve to feel okay all the time? And get what they need. But part of me also felt like at that time, oh, maybe this is justice. Maybe this is the universe's or God's justice, or simply purely biological scientific justice. You can't live like that all the time. So I felt like, okay, this is my time to pay the piper. see what it's like now to live without cash on tap, to be a drug addict without easy access to drugs. So I spend all my money on um, drugs in a day, but that's like the day I got money. But I wasn't cashed up, so I get to be high for about a couple of days, and then just feel so shit for the next 5. But still living in this slum. I felt like a lot of these decisions were based on. I've talked about this before. It's hard for men to talk about, but basically, on an emotional need, I feel like that's a lot of what a lot of addiction is, that people don't, even addicts are too ashamed to tell you. And I know because I work with them that they almost never crack open this element. It's not just addicts; it's a human thing as well. We don't crack how much we're driven by, at the core, an emotional need to just feel loved. And that doesn't go away. I thought, like, sure, I might be down and out, but isn't the message of the universe? I was still trying. When you see an addict and you're judging them and you think, look at that selfish guy who was buying drugs or whatever. Most of the time they're just genuinely doing their best to feel to feel okay and to feel loved. So I felt like, when will I get to feel okay? When will I get to feel loved? It's pretty shit. So the slum I'm living in. So in a slum, whether you in Bali or Puerto Rico, I guess, I tell you who lives in them are the drug addicts, prostitutes, alcoholics, and gang members. So they were my friends. And in the shitty, like, run down apartment block, that's doing it too. That apartment, but that's doing it too kindly. Fucking, how about this? Concrete box of broken bricks and wood. That's better. Next to mine, there were a lot of alcoholics. I was the main drug addict in my street. A lot of alcoholics, gang members from different parts of Indonesia, and a lot of prostitutes. Almost all of the women in the neighborhood I lived in were prostitutes. But hard to imagine. Imagine wherever you live, probably a nice sunny neighborhood in Australia, right? But every woman in your street, every woman you meet when you go to work, go to the shops, is a sex worker. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a sex worker. But living in that world, especially as a drug addict with very poor perspective on reality, it's strange. Oh, and feeling this really trying to get off drugs, and feeling this really painful feeling in your heart of wanting to be loved, knowing that you never get it from your parents. Sometimes you're texting with your other members of your family and old friends that all hate you now because you were an asshole to them. You're texting them, hey, I'm really hungry. Please send me money. I know I'm a drug addict. Or not telling them because they won't send money. Hey, I'm really hungry. Can you please send me $5? Because I will, I swear to God, use it to buy rice. If you send me $50, you don't tell them this. If you send them $50, I will buy drugs and then I'll buy some rice. But with $5, I guess maybe drugs are very cheap. Maybe your friends and family don't. I think they don't know. Incredibly cheap compared to Australia. But surely you know five. I can't get any drugs for $5. You can't get drugs for $5 in Bali. You can buy a stick of weed. Um, can I have $5 for rice? And then they say no. And then you tell them the worst. You call them the worst things you can imagine. And then they never talk to you again. And you're just trying to find love. You're just trying to find love. You're experiencing all this rejection as a drug addict. By the way, think what you want. Fair enough. Not giving a drug addict money, whatever. But you're experiencing all this rejection, and you just want to find love, and you're living in a world full of prostitutes. So I fell in love with a prostitute in that concrete block building I told you about earlier. I think it could have been anyone. I think it just my love needed to land somewhere, so it landed on her. I tell you what, that was never been in love with someone like that. She was like, let's get into this because people are going to be shouting at me maybe for calling someone a whore. I'll tell you why. You know that thing. So if you're someone, and I would too, I will get angry if I heard someone call someone else a whore. That's not cool. And when I do that, I'm thinking, don't call them a whore, even if they are a sex worker, even if they are being a bitch, even if they're being mean to you, right, whatever. Don't call them a whore. That's not right, because when you label them as a whore, what that word means to me, and basically to everyone, why we don't call people that, it means all these kinds of things. What it means, what that word means, and that's why we don't do it. So that thing that when you say the word whore to yourself and you picture, we wouldn't want to label someone with all those kind of traits. I'm talking about women that have all those traits and behaviors, okay? Like explicitly whoring and being whorish for money, like brutally, like weaponize. It's like weaponizing sex in the most vicious way possible, emotionally, not just physically, like emotion, weaponizing love. It feels like violence sometimes. So that thing that you're afraid to label people, they do explicitly. They label themselves as that. When you say, "Hey, why are you behaving like?" Can't say it, but whorish. So whorishly, they say, because that's what I want to do. But it's wrong because I don't care. I want to, do this and that. So I don't know if you feel like Ryan's justified his use of the word whore. I don't know. I can't explain it. Maybe you need to just live in it. But if you just picture a cartoon of the most whorish character you could think of, and basically that's what the women were like. So I fell in love with her, and I would tell her, and she would mock me and go around fucking like calling customers over, telling me that she was doing it. She would come over to my place, say, Ryan, I do love you now. Hey, would you go out to balcony for the moment? I got a surprise. And then she'd get on some guy's bike that she's specifically called over to humiliate me. I'm going to take a break for a sec. Sorry about that brief interruption, and now we're back. So I was telling you about my Bali COVID girlfriend. So I thought, like, you know what? I won't give up. I won't quit. This is a lesson sent to me by the universe or sent to me by God. I got nothing now. And I'm going to, and the need, the emotional need I have for love, that's natural and pure, right? And I'm going to work for it. I'm going to earn it. I'm going to show the universe. I'm going to show that I am deserving of having my emotional need filled. So I worked so hard on getting clean. I had nothing. So I said, how can I show a woman how deserving I am for love? I bring her flowers. I will, you know, bring her. She was also very poor as well. I will bring her rice and water, the basic stuff, nothing fancy. I will scrub her fucking gross, greasy kitchen while she is out fucking some customer that she called to humiliate with me. I will show a woman how good that a man can be. Here, listen to Ryan place a man in the position of being a victim. I'm sorry, ladies. uh, and, um, and that's how I found myself scrubbing that greasy kitchen, you know. Guess what? It didn't work. I did get clean, and I did get her to be my girlfriend for a little while. Oh boy, was that a big mistake. Never try to save a woman who has decided that she wants to be a prostitute. They do not want to be saved. She used to, even when we were together and we were staying together, she used to keep messaging, calling men, hey, look at all the guys I'm showing, calling, telling them to come fuck me for cash. They are from another planet. Okay, so this is might sound really brutal, discriminating, but I don't know who listens to this. Fuck. If enough people listen to this that I start to get in trouble, well, I don't know. Some of these women they are from another planet. You have no idea. I'm going to sound really terrible. I think you need to live in this to understand. And I don't want to place myself in the role of victim. I told you guys the story of how fucked up, how dumb, how bad. I was getting labeled as dumb and bad. Maybe I told you it's good. The 60 minutes weren't there. I was so dumb and bad that I learned a very, very painful lesson. Don't try and save a hooker in Southeast Asia by showing them what a good man you can be. She nearly scratched my eyes out. That was like the I want to say worst. It was to call it a relationship. It was wild, you guys. Yeah. I hope you like that story. Uh, I'm single now, so I love saying that because I don't know, maybe I like the attention, but uh, I feel like I still have a lot to learn about women and relationships, but I learned a lot from that one. Tune in next week. Thanks, guys, for listening. Bye for now.